Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate your making the time. I'm joining you from Columbus, Ohio, and look forward to being back on campus at our board meeting, which takes place in April. I'm Lisa Courtice, class of 1984, and I currently serve as chair of the Dean's Advisory Board for the College of Arts and Sciences. About 2 years ago, I was asked to take on this role, and honestly, I didn't hesitate but to say yes. It's such an important time in higher education and for the future of the liberal arts. I knew it was a special time for me to stay involved and become more involved. So thank you for wanting to learn more. I saw it as an opportunity to be part of work that directly addresses problems that I care deeply about. Things like climate crisis, health disparities, and the way technology is shaping our lives and our humanity. And I saw a college uniquely positioned to tackle these challenges in meaningful ways. The world is working very fast, and disruption is a way of life. We need the arts and sciences more than ever. And that's why I'm here. But most important, we're most interested in why you are here, and we're so glad you want to learn more with us today. My guess would be that you chose the College of Arts and Sciences, if you can remember why you chose the College of Arts and Sciences. Maybe it was you're a recent grad, so it was 5 years ago, or 50 years ago, and it might not have been intentional, but boy, did you learn all the things about the world and the interdisciplinary excellence of a College of Arts and Sciences. So my guess is that you sense something more that would happen in a College of Arts and Sciences, and that the biggest challenges in our world don't neatly fit into one discipline, that real solutions come from connecting ideas, perspectives, and people in ways that other institutions often keep separate. Arts and Sciences is now building on that instinct that you may have had, with real focus, clarity, and opportunity for impact. I hope you're here because you care about some of the things that we do and the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences is leading. The college is prioritizing climate change and the environment because the world your children and grandchildren inherit matters. We're prioritizing health and well-being because everyone deserves better, more humane healthcare. We're prioritizing culture, community, and change because societies thrive when people feel connected and valued. And we're prioritizing innovative technologies because we all want a future where AI and technology serve humanity, not weaken it. These aren't abstract academic ideas. We believe they're pathways for turning shared values into real lasting change. They're ways to make sure our time, talent, and investments matter in ways we can actually see and measure. Dean Mortazavi is going to share how his vision is becoming a reality. Not just aspirations, but concrete initiatives that are ready for partnership and engagement. After he provides this introduction, we'll have a conversation because we value your perspective and want to hear from you. Your questions matter to us. Your ideas will help shape where we go next. We are listening to you. Thank you again for making time to learn more and to provide your feedback. Please feel free to use the Q&A feature on this virtual meeting. And we will be gathering as many questions. We will be reviewing all of your questions, and we'll see how many we can prioritize in our time together and find ways for answering your questions if we're unable to do it in our time together in this meeting today. If you've ever waited for the moment when your involvement at Syracuse could make the greatest difference, when the college you believed in is truly positioned to lead, this may be that moment. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce Dean Behzad Mortazavi.
Thank you, Lisa. And thanks everybody for being here. It's wonderful to have the opportunity to speak with you today and to share some of the work we've been doing in the College of Arts and Sciences. But before I do that, I'd like to start by telling you today a little bit about why I chose to come to Arts and Sciences and Syracuse University, because I think it provides a good context for some of the more exciting things that I plan on sharing with you today. I was a program officer at the National Science Foundation about a decade ago, and I was in charge of reviewing hundreds of proposals, grant application that would come from universities nationwide. And I was able to look at how institutions were talking about innovation, but also through years of follow-up to see who was actually delivering what they were promising. College of Arts and Sciences at Syracuse University stood out. To this day, I remember looking at proposals and thinking, this is an institution where their faculty are encouraged to cross boundaries, whereas other institutions treated these boundaries as silos of disciplines that wouldn't be crossed across by faculty. And I saw many of the problems that we were trying to solve here at Syracuse University through the eyes of a program officer at the National Science Foundation as really trying to solve problems that don't fit departmental silos. To me, that was one of the most attractive feature about a research university where we are building endeavors around ideas as opposed to disciplinary silos. And so when you're really thinking about supporting arts and sciences, you're just not funding incremental improvements. I believe that we're empowering the kind of boundary crossing work that actually solves problems that we care about. And that might seem rare, especially in arts and sciences and in higher education in general. I think at the same time, higher ed and arts and sciences, we're facing uniquely challenging moments. Like never before, people are questioning the value of higher education and the cost of higher ed and the uncertain job market. And I think these are all fair questions, but traditional answers like critical thinking skills being our value proposition just sound hollow to parents who are weighing hundreds of $1,000s of tuition or the cost of or the uncertain job market that their children might face. So as opposed to thinking about defending the liberal arts, the way I think about it is our job is to do what others aren't doing, which is to demonstrate that we have actually competitive advantages for our students. When a student comes to arts and sciences and they graduate, here are three things that really distinguish them amongst their peers. They're able to write clearly when their peers cannot, and that makes them indispensable. They can see patterns across fields that now specialists might miss, and that makes them leaders in the future. And they can navigate ethical complexities when algorithms fails, and really that's making them more human. These aren't really just nice qualities to have. In my mind, these are the skills that employers repeatedly tell us that is what they want. So we're not really spending our time in this college defending the liberal arts. What we're doing is trying to focus on solving problem as only arts and sciences can do. And those problem or grand challenges, as I call them, are called out very specifically in our new strategic plan. Lisa touched on them in her introduction, and they are areas where I believe in our college we already have deep expertise and interdisciplinary collaborations existing. They revolve around four areas of climate change and environment, health and well-being, culture, community and change, and innovative technologies. In the question QA we're having next, I'll give you some great examples of work that's already happening at the College of Arts and Sciences. And really what I hope to achieve today is as you listen to our focus areas, I ask that you think about which one of them resonates with you. We'd like to then hear really what it's exciting you about these directions how your vision for impact aligns with what we're building, and how we can work together to make it real. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions and proceed that way.
Great. Well, I will start with one while we have some coming
Okay.
into the Q&A. Don't forget you have that option, so please put your questions in the Q&A. As a loyal arts and science graduate, I then took my undergraduate degree and became a psychologist. And so I'm always very interested, and I think others are too, of people's formative experiences and how they define your perspective on the world and what you bring to this role because of that perspective.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Lisa. And it's a long story, but it goes back to my teenage years living in France, watching a lot of Jacques Cousteau episodes on TV. So I pursued a degree in biology because I got really interested in the oceans, and ultimately that led me to a PhD in oceanography. And most of my work over the past decade and a half and my research has been on coastal marshes in the Gulf of Mexico and elsewhere. And one thing that I've observed as I've gone through my career as a scientist and administrator and now a dean is that often the biggest breakthroughs happen at intersections. So cancer treatments that save lives takes biologists, chemists, engineers working together. Climate solutions that work take policy expert people who understand human behavior as well as the scientists to make this work. This is the kind of disciplinary approach we're taking on the four pillars of our academic strategic plan that you mentioned earlier and we talked about. We're focusing really on our expertise and we're going to focus our resources in these specific areas where we have a critical mass of academic and research expertise. And I would say, in short, these pillars are where we can make really the biggest difference for people and the planet and our students. I've spent years evaluating what makes research truly innovative versus incremental. I know what excellence looks like. I know what distinguishes breakthrough from business and usual. And I see that excellence throughout arts and sciences, and where we have scientists and humanists combining their expertise to solve problems that neither really could solve alone. I think when you're supporting arts and sciences, you're supporting the potential and impact of that very necessary intersection. And that's really what I'm mostly excited about these days.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, it'd be helpful if you could share those observations about what you brought, and your impressions of Syracuse are very helpful. If you could give us some of your impressions, what you've observed additionally in the first couple of years where you're seeing this college and with very fresh lens.
Yeah.
And also, how does it feel to not live close to the ocean?
It is difficult not to live close to the ocean, but I try to travel when I can, and I still have a project that is focused and at my prior institution, the research is happening there. So I'm staying in touch and doing what I can, but no longer obviously spending my days in the lab and in the field doing work. I think what I'm really impressed with here is the effort we've put into our students' success. We're supporting our students in really critical ways, such that it has led to this past year, we had the highest retention rate that we've had in the college. So students going from first year to the second year, that retention rate is a record for the college. We also had a record for medical school acceptance, and that's extraordinary at 77%. We're really proud of that work. But it's also because we have exceptional students, and these two students are really choosing arts and sciences specifically for an integrated education. And so an example of that is like a major that we have in health humanities, where we are teaching future doctors to see the person beyond the patient. Through art, poetry, literature, the kind of doctor you want treating your family. I think I have seen faculty really primed and ready to maximize the impact we can have. As I mentioned earlier, academia often is siloed and bounded in disciplines. We have great disciplines here, and we'll invest in those. But also, I see a lot of intersection of faculty crossing disciplines and doing interdisciplinary work.
Mm.
They're eager to collaborate on problems that matter. And what that does is that it's bringing their students to real world problems that then they can develop their critical thinking skills, teamwork, leadership skills as they work on solving some of the grand challenges. And I think the investments that we are making and we're hoping you will partner with us on is meant to remove barriers and really try to get these brilliant people working together immediately. And getting funding for interdisciplinary work is very hard. And many of our faculty are trying and achieving, but would like to accelerate that. And I've seen over and over the excellence of our faculty. And so your support, I would say, wouldn't really fund the potential. What I would say is that we're actually funding work that is having results currently, and we're looking to scale this up. So looking for partnership from alumni who also care about this work, and probably many of you on this call. So that's those are three things that really stand out to me. A couple of things that really stand out to me in my past 2 years of observation.
Can you remind us how many faculty we have in the college?
We have about 380 full-time faculty, about 4,000 students. We have 17 departments or disciplines, 16 departments and one interdisciplinary program. So we're the largest unit on campus. We traditionally get the largest number of student applicants to a single college. So last year we had over 15,000 applicants to College of Arts and Sciences, and we admitted just about 1,000 students, ultimately enrolled about 1,000 students in the college. And so we're a big enterprise in 400,000 square feet of space across 20 buildings, but we take pride in that.
And I'm correct in saying that every student at the university touches the College of Arts and Sciences?
You're absolutely right. So College of Arts and Sciences and the Maxwell School of Citizenship, we offer the core curriculum for the university. So literally every student is interacting with us and is being impacted by our offering. So that's right. Yep.
Well, you have a lot to be proud of, and you've navigated and led a really thoughtful strategic planning process with your faculty and administrative colleagues. What about the plan excites you the most?
Yeah, so I think when I originally assembled a group of faculty to help me think about the strategic plan for the college, what I told them is a lot of strategic plans might fail because they're just aspirational. What I advised my faculty and teams to work on was that I wanted a plan that is rooted in our existing strengths. So we didn't dream up areas we'd like to be strong in, but instead we asked, where are we genuinely exceptional right now? And where can your dollars create immediate visible impact? So that was the framework for what we wanted this plan to be like. And it's really come to represent now a change in how we operate in the college. So we're not trying to do everything moderately well. We're trying to do few things at a high level, creating really a national distinction for the College of Arts and Sciences. And we already have multiple programs that are nationally renowned, from our creative writing and our humanities to our physics department and chemistry department and others, communication science disorders. And our goal is to have our efforts and resources really concentrated in areas in a way that they haven't been at a time in the past 150-year history of the college. So the plan is really beyond aspirational. It's building on existing strengths, and it's really going to change the way we operate in the college. What I'd like to say is we're not going to be sprinkling resources We're going to
Mhm.
strengthen our disciplinary work, but truly invest in our interdisciplinary expertise that could be a shining feature of this college going forward.
Well, give us some insights into what one big idea or two big ideas that you see as possible and how they might move the needle for our humanity.
Sure. And so, there's a few things that come to mind that I'm really excited about, and I think they represent incredible opportunities for the college. So it turns out the College of Arts and Sciences operates multiple clinics, from audiology to speech pathology, a psychology clinic, a family marriage therapy clinic. It turns out they're all scattered across campus. And and hundreds of central New York families are falling through the cracks because healthcare is so scarce and so hard to get to. And it turns out that when we really think about, let's say, a stroke patient, they might need multiple therapies, not fragmented care, right? So a child with autism and hearing loss shouldn't be bouncing across services in our community, in our town, and at the university. So our plan is to bring programs together under one roof, to create a seamless, coordinated care your family would want, and provide opportunities for over 160 graduate students to work collectively with 46 faculty as a unit to get training that they would only probably be able to get at a medical school. So the idea is that if somebody comes in wanting to be, let's say, a speech pathologist, now we're going to expand their view of care and think of it as holistic care, because often one impediment or issue crosses other boundaries that the counseling person might not be able to solve. But we want to have these discussions, this part of training for all of these graduate students and these faculty in a seamless environment, and one where they're intermingling and understanding the holistic care, as I mentioned. And so I think this will be a transformative educational opportunity, creating clinicians who practice differently. That could set us apart, right, as position Syracuse really as a national model. And for decades to come, this will really strengthen our relationship with the city of Syracuse and hundreds of family who need the care that is hard
Yes,
to get right now.
right.
So that idea of thinking about the college not in siloed clinics, but what would the entity that would bring them all together, the opportunities it would create for our faculty in terms of seeking interdisciplinary funding, training of our graduate students, creating internship opportunities on care for our undergraduate students, and really serving our community in a way that they deserve to be treated.
That
Um,
is so exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting. I see this as a very unique opportunity for Syracuse. And like I said, all the elements exist here. We just need to bring them together and really think of, the next level care, which is as opposed to siloed care where people are bouncing between clinicians, to a holistic care where they come in one-stop shop, they get all the help that we can provide them in this setting. So it's a great opportunity. I'm really excited about it, and I am talking with faculty and alumni when I'm on traveling, and I truly see this as a transformative opportunity for College of Arts and Sciences. Along those lines, in terms of healthcare, another thing that I'm really excited about is the field of medicinal chemistry.
Mm.
So, arts and science chemistry has really capabilities, I would say, rivaling major biotech companies. Dr. Robert Doyle's lab in the chemistry department has developed a anti-obesity drug that is reducing food intake by 87% without causing nausea or as other current obesity drugs are doing. And this has been largely funded at great levels by the federal government. And we have patents in hand and they're licensed for commercialization. And I'm hoping that
Mm.
they'll come to fruition soon. But we want to strengthen this field in the college and recruit faculty for drug discovery and drug delivery work. Many of the chronic issues that we're all aware of, such as obesity and diabetes, they're going to be tripling over the next 2 decades. So it's really important
Right.
to make investments now to create breakthroughs in global health crisis. And I believe Syracuse is positioned to contribute to and also profit from this work down the road.
Right.
And so returns potentially benefit arts and sciences really for generations to come. And I would invite us to think about our role in creating opportunities to better address a crisis that's affecting hundreds of millions of people across the planet. And to me, that is a real opportunity. Most donors support basic research, but important and distant from application. This is research that's becoming treatment. It has measurable impact in our lifetimes, and the financial returns on these investments could support future students. And
Mhm.
so, around the idea of health initiatives, I think medicinal chemistry and the interprofessional clinic really are top of mind for me. And then as I think about our students, I see this great need for the college to be engaged and investing in teaching as much as we have invested in our research. So I am seeking to establish an innovation in teaching and curriculum endowment because as we know, our classrooms, our students, our minds are being reshaped by the new technology, AI, and other technologies that come along. And your children and grandchildren are going to be entering this world, and they need an education that is going to be meeting the moment and not what we have been offering over the years in the past. So the challenge for us to be able to really innovate in curricular fields is that professors must first learn the technology, then they have to overhaul their courses. That's not an easy feat, and it takes time, expertise, resources. And this is really currently happening in the college as unfunded work. And so for our students in college to be competitive, we must fund really that intellectual work, like I said, at the same level as scientific discovery. That's how important this is to me. I need to be able to compensate faculty for course redesigns, teaching innovations that defined really the 21st century, and ensuring that every arts and science student experiences really a transformative and evidence-based teaching. We have amazing faculty, and they're all constantly innovating what they teach and how they teach. But now the pace of change is far greater than it's ever been in the past. And so I would say, if you have kids or grandkids and considering college, this is going to be an area where the university needs to invest in terms of overhauling our curricular offerings and how we teach. And if you're going to be employing or are employing college graduates, they need to come out with new tools, new capabilities so that they become added value on day one when they arrive in your enterprise. And I think that the investment would really create that preparation and opportunity for our students through the great work that our faculty do. As I think about students, another area that is really important to me is the challenges that our students are facing today. The national averages, if you look at the data that is tracking levels of anxiety and depression and loneliness, it has taken a turn since 2010, and it's been accelerating year after year, such that many college students claim or report that they're lonely. Many of them report they're anxious to the level where they can't meet their daily function needs. Many of them suffer from depression. And when I walk on this campus, I have a different view of students because I realize that the challenges they're facing, they're just a subsample of the population out in the world, and they are struggling. And we have reports for the College of Arts and Science students showing uh, that they are suffering from loneliness, depression, anxiety. But there's hope because nearly two-thirds of these students also claim that they adapt well to change. So in my mind, they're resilient. They just need tools to be able to bounce back quicker than they would if they're facing hardships. So what we're working on is designing a course that would be modeled on initiatives originally led out of Harvard in positive psychology courses that is meant to equip hundreds of our arts and science students each year. And I guarantee you it will become such a popular course that students from all over campus would want to enroll. I've told my departments to think about an initial cohort of 250 students, but be ready for over 1,000 students who would want to
Wow.
participate in this course. Because in my conversation with students, I see that they're craving really evidence-based strategies for making life meaningful, purposeful, and for their well-being. And so this is going to be a great way to help our students thrive, not just survive. And I think, what I'm talking with you about must resonate with you because the national conversation is around young people's mental health. And if you really want students building strong foundation, and if you believe in the education that prepares them for a good life, I think this is the opportunity through which we can really have a measurable impact in the College of Arts and Sciences. So I would say, when I think about these four initiatives and what they represent to me, I'm not asking for our alumni to donate so that we can build a new building and hoping to put faculty in that building and for 5 years from now to get impact. Our strategy in this college is different. We build support structures around ideas with immediate impact. We're removing barriers so that the brilliant people that work here can actually solve problems that people care about. And um, your legacy is going to be really attached to the work that we do that has measurable outcomes and matters to all of us and would be highlight of what arts and sciences could accomplish at this university. And in many cases, I believe become a national model for how we think about those pillars that I've mentioned, whether it's sustainability of our environments, human health and well-being, thinking about culture, community, and change, and training our students to talk across divides, and also thinking about how do we make best use of the AI tech or latest technologies, AI being one of them, in terms of having it enhance our work and life as opposed to weakening us. So those are four areas that I think are prime for immediate impact that I'm really excited about.
And what would be the timeline? And did you call it positive psychology?
Right. So the field of positive psychology started really developing in 1999. So it's been around and it's really came about because the president of American Psychological Association, when he got inaugurated at the president of that association, he came to the community, to the psychology community, and said, look, we've investing our time in understanding disease. It's time to shift our focus in understanding what is it that's making human beings thrive despite all the challenges one might face. And so this field, now 25 years old or so, has really been looking at ways where we can, what are attributes or what are things we can do so that our life is meaningful, purposeful, and we become resilient so we can bounce back quickly from hardships. Our students many of them arrive on this campus, many of them, the first time they're stepping out of their zip codes, and they're being exposed to a brand new world that the data suggests they're not really prepared for, the complexity that they're encountering. And so this science of human flourishing and arts and sciences will be about really equipping these students so that they can navigate challenges far better than they have been able in the past, so that they can be better students and more impactful and join the workforce ready to really deliver on the promise.
Yeah. That's very exciting. And I just have a couple more questions. And of course, we want to take some from the audience. But if you could quickly um, comment on the humanities and the importance of the humanities, and especially in this world where more and more you hear young people saying they want to get a degree in engineering because they think that's how they get a job.
Right.
And what does this mean for the student population?
Right. Yeah. So, um, the way I think about it is let's pick an example like climate change. Now, many scientists claim or have evidence, have long-term data and deep understanding of some of the things that could impact our environment. But at the end of the day, that understanding has to translate into human behavior for the changes to occur. So the role of the humanist, for example, might be helping us understand along the scientist what about human behavior makes change difficult. Political systems, how do we think about the role of the humanist in creating policies that address the needs of the people that enhance our living? Or our cultural values, when we have, what is motivating action in a population, and how can we really think about creating change when it's dependent on not just the scientific understanding, but human behavior, political system, cultural values, as well as economic incentives. So what makes solutions viable? So what we're trying to achieve here is making investment in an integrated approach where scientists and humanists are at the same table from the beginning, not scientists developing solutions and trying to sell them. But I think that's where solutions fail. And I believe the idea here is to get support from our alumni in terms of funding collaborations that actually solve problems, but have the right people at the same table. Um, disruptive technology as artificial intelligence, hard to believe that, it's become part of our life and just since its inception in the public domain about 3 years ago. And it's literally shaping every aspect of our life. And so the technical challenges are enormous, but in my mind, the ethical questions are just really critical for the world we want. And so the humanist can help us understand how best to decide where AI or how AI is deployed. How do we ensure that AI or other disruptive technologies actually help human flourishing? How do we protect privacy, dignity, and democratic values when AI can be such a disruptor? So, we believe that in this college, through the work of the humanists, along with the scientists and engineers, um, you can't answer all the questions that come up with just engineering solution alone. You need a philosophy, a social science, understanding of humanity's history, and an integrated approach from the beginning so that the investments that we're going to make in technology end up serving humanity, not weakening us. And so our goal is to create shared research institutes where the humanists and scientists are working together. We are thinking about creating team-taught courses where the students are able to hear firsthand from a scientist and a humanist on a topic that is common to both of them and gain different perspectives. And we're trying to seed fund collaborative grant proposals that bring the scientists and the humanists together. And this is, in the broader picture of the college about removing barriers, really preventing people working from together and trying to solve problems. And so the support will help fund that unique capability that's existing in the college that needs more attention.
Before I turn it over to Jen Stone, who will share questions from our guests, you meet a lot of alumni, and I know you've been traveling and new friends on campus. And when they ask how can they get involved with the College of Arts and Sciences, what do you suggest?
Yeah, well, first of all, I always thank them for caring. I'm deeply grateful that we have such an incredible alumni base who are engaged and willing to hear me out and to help the college. And there are multiple ways where alumni can help us. One of the needs we have is retaining and being able to hire exceptional faculty in the college. And as a college, we don't have enough endowed faculty positions. And so endowed faculty positions provide support in perpetuity for a research enterprise of faculty. And really, faculty are the engine of everything that's happening at the university. And so an endowed faculty position is going to help us um, to focus on areas that we'll care about or you care about: environmental sustainability, health disparities, ethical technology. And this is a way for donors to get recognition with naming this endowed position that would honor them or their family. And it's really about creating a long-lasting impact. I'm really grateful for alumni engagement on the student support side. So um, your investment in scholarships lets talented students to really focus on education, not working multiple jobs to get through. And then many opportunities get created through gifts and endowment to create research opportunities and hands-on experience, whether it's in the STEM disciplines or in engaged humanities work, trying to work and tackle some of the problems that students inherently want to engage with and solve. And so student support will really create leaders in the field that matter to you. And as a dean, one thing that I am always encountering is changes happening much faster than any of us would anticipate. And we build budgets years in advance, but opportunities come along at unpredictable times. So a faculty might need seed funding for a research breakthrough or other opportunities like that. But we need to be able to move fast on transformative partnerships. And so a gift, unrestricted support for the college creates the agility that is really going to be able to distinguish us as leaders from being followers and really investing in areas that are opportunities of the moment that others might have an advantage over, but we lack the resources. So creating those flexible resources allows the college to really be able to take advantage of opportunities that again, pop up at really different times. I'm also deeply appreciative of our alumni when they're opening doors to employers and partners in your network to create internship opportunities for our students. You often make strategic connections for our students that are life-changing. And I also rely on alumni to tell our story and tell them what we are doing, how special it is, and why it matters, and why students would want to come and should come to Syracuse University. I'm grateful that many of you have hosted regional events, and I look forward to doing more of those so that I can get to meet with alumni and a broader community where you are. And I would say, the way I think about our alumni is that their involvement is going to be what will multiply everything that we can achieve. You become the network that is a force multiplier through your financial investments. I recognize that distinctive moments won't last, but now we have momentum, clarity, and capability all aligned. And your involvement now really creates maximum impact, and your legacy is part of something genuinely transformational, I think, at the moment at Syracuse University. So I'm happy to answer questions if there are any from our audience or any other questions you might have.
Hi. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Lisa. So we do have a number of really great questions from our audience. We would expect nothing less. Jennifer Kronstein from Philadelphia says, She swears by the liberal arts and SU. That is a direct quote. She said, that said, in the business world, work must be quantified at times. So those of us with writing and analytical skills will be in demand in this AI area. How are we thinking about this, whether it's within arts and sciences, partnerships across this institution, and sort of helping to tackle this issue?
Right. So that's a wonderful question, and I really, it resonates with me. I was just meeting this Saturday at an event with some of our student scholars who are first year students at 3.4 or above. We hosted an event for them, and it was the opportunity for me to ask them what is it that they expect the college to be doing around AI. I don't want to assume that we know the answer. I thought that I should go in the trenches and ask the students and try to understand what their needs are. What they're telling me is that they're lost in a world of regulations. So some places use AI, some places don't use AI. Some of them want to learn how to use AI, and some of them have very specific demands in terms of what an AI curriculum could help them with. For example, I was meeting with a pre-health student who is asking the college to develop a curriculum so that they can learn how to use AI to become effective researchers. I think what I have been telling the students is AI is another tool, and just like a calculator, but it will be far more impactful. And the education you receive here has to make it so that you have your unique voice in the workforce and you don't look like every other AI produced document. And so those critical thinking skills, problem solving, is what we do in the college. It's just that there's another complexity added to it, and that's AI. But we have to navigate this because it will be part of our life. And our students are demanding, they're finding themselves at different stages, right? So not everybody is asking for the same thing, but we've started interacting with students to understand what their needs are. And so Syracuse University broadly is going to create a major, not within arts and sciences, but it will be a major at the university around AI. Arts and sciences, we're thinking specifically, what is our unique contribution to around AI, and how can we think about adding value to what the university as a whole is going to do around AI.
Great, thank you. Dan Jaffe, fellow Dean Advisory Board member and from Boston, was curious if you would sort of let us take a little peek behind the curtain during the strategic planning process. Were there any sort of topics or pillars that were discussed that might have been left on that proverbial cutting room floor? He says the pillars are great and he really can't think of any better ones, but he would be interested if there were other things that were discussed during that process.
It's interesting you asked that question, because given that we have 17 different disciplines in the college, and I had representatives from I had representatives from the humanities and the STEM disciplines, they naturally coalesced around these areas and made the work easy for me in terms of building on it. But, given that they started with their focus was not looking outside initially, but looking inside and seeing where our strengths are, and then building a plan around our strengths. So we didn't end up ignoring, one pillar or another. Literally, these four came to be as a result of the faculty feeling this is where we have excellence and this is where we can contribute to the society.
Thank you. Richard DeVito is curious if you could just sort of reflect a little bit. You've talked about what areas of excellence we have within the college, and if you also had to sort of reflect on what areas within this plan do you think provide us the most opportunity for growth?
That's a great question. The College of Arts and Sciences is such a diverse college. Um, and the way I think about it, the idea is not to really leave anybody behind. I think what's possible in this plan is that really every department, every faculty can find a way to demonstrate their work under these pillars. Now, some might want to participate and some are not eager to participate, but we just hosted an event about a week ago where we had hundred of our faculty show up at an event to try to engage with the academic strategic plan, because this is like the first, showcasing of it as it's been distilled into these four pillars. So I believe that all of those four areas, really could benefit from the contributions of our faculty. And I can't think of, one being more important than other. This is the life and blood work of arts and sciences. We're just giving it a narrative, a way of talking about it that is so much more focused as opposed to being distributed.
Yeah, well said. So one final question for you. This is a 5-year strategic plan, right? So I'm going to actually take you 10 years from now. When you imagine looking back on your tenure, 10 years from now, what does success look like? And what role do you hope that our 70,000 plus alumni will have played in that?
That's a great question. When I think about my role as the dean and what I would hope for this college is academic excellence. I want us in a decade to be national models in areas that we care about, that we have deeply invested in and engaged our alumni in that work, so that our proposition value is very distinct to students who are thinking about joining the College of Arts and Sciences. I think we have the makings of a great plan. We are, going to be thinking hard about resources and resourcing the plan. But I think it's a transformational plan. And in 10 years, we will be known for having made an impact, I believe, in all of those four areas that I mentioned.
Great. Well, as a advisory board member, my colleagues on the board and I, fellow alumni, have watched the dean navigate and lead this really thoughtful process. I am very energized by hearing his overview today and speaking to you, and I hope that you're as excited as I am about what is possible for the College of Arts and Sciences and the future of the university and our beloved college. There are many threats to higher education right now, and many colleges are focused on protecting what they've always done and hunkering down. And our College of Arts and Sciences is asking a very different question. What can we do that no one else can do, given our interdisciplinary approach? These four pillars, climate and environment, health and well-being, culture, community, and change, innovative technologies, there's a place for you with one or all. And know that some of you may choose to partner financially. Others may open doors for the dean and others and faculty and administrators to expand our network and our expertise so we can learn from others. But all of us can be an ambassador that shares the work that's going on in the college within our own networks and our own communities. It's a very special moment for the College of Arts and Sciences. The college is home to some of the most accomplished, thoughtful, and engaged alumni at the university. And together, our intellect, experience, and passion will help shape the future the world needs. So our advancement team, led by Jen, who you just met through our Q&A, will be reaching out in the coming weeks to continue the conversation with you, to learn more about what matters to you, what matters most to you, and how your interests might align to what we're building. In the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out and ask for questions and ask for clarification. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing in arts and sciences. Thank you for considering how you might play a role in building and executing on this strategic plan. Go Arts and Sciences and go Orange. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.